Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Rental Store. Thank you for joining us on episode 259 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. Maybe Damon at some point.
Yep. Yeah, he said he was going to join us, but we don't know when. So
he'll come eventually. But I was just saying to Trevor before we started here, like, a lot of stuff going on. And I think, I feel like I said this recently, that I was like, things are about to ramp up, man. Like once Disney made that deal with with the state of Florida and like got past the lawsuit stuff, like all of a sudden everything's starting to get in motion.
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden you're seeing all of these little things popping up. That's like, it's like they were waiting. They were just waiting.
Yeah. I think I said in the Discord group that I felt like they were waiting for the lawsuit to be done, you know?
Well, and I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you don't want to have, like, as you're trying to announce positive things, you don't want people kind of in the back of their head going, oh, well, but they're still having issues, right? Like it kind of it tarnishes, positive news.
Well, and also, they didn't necessarily, they were contesting the agreement that Disney had put together, before the whole changeover happened. And it was a whole big mess. But, now that we're past that, and now that we're past the whole proxy battle thing, if you were following that, Disney, I think, is ready to ramp up. Things are going. So we got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about this episode. I'm actually really excited. It's funny because we're recording early, and I said this to my wife. I was like, I mean, it's a good thing we're doing it earlier, because I feel like if we didn't, I'd have too much. There's just too many things. There's too many things already on the list here.
But so I guess for context, for anyone that's wondering, we're recording this like on Friday night when we would normally record on a Sunday. Now, I guess my only question to you, Tom, is: do you think between Friday and Sunday that there would be that much,
I don't know,
stuff? And I guess we'll find out on Monday how much of this, or how much stuff we miss.
I mean, between when I wrote the rundown last night and today, there was something else I had to add. So I don't know, maybe there could be more. It seems to be coming out at a decent clip. I mean, and it's not like official announcement stuff, right? But it's things are, you could tell things are moving, right?
Yeah, you're right. There's the official stuff, but there's been a couple of things here, like rumors. Actually, we're going to talk about some rumors here that, you
love our rumors.
It's just a lot of information coming out, right?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's great. It's exciting, and I think this is just the beginning of a lot. So, and if you were listening to, which I tuned into the shareholder meeting, I don't know if you did, but I
didn't have time though.
It's like, no, I was just sitting at my desk and I decided to tune into it. And, it's funny. And I think they specifically addressed this for a reason, but so Iger got asked the question, with Epic Universe coming, like, why hasn't Disney made an announcement of things that they're going to do? And Iger almost, like, his response was, and it was pre-done, right? So it was pre-recorded. So like, it wasn't like it was a surprise question that came out of nowhere. Like he, obviously prepared for it, but he was like, I couldn't disagree more. He's like, he goes, we've known about Universal's plans for about a decade, which is amazing that they've known about it for that long. I mean, you have to think that Disney and Universal probably know what each other are doing.
There is a certain amount of knowing what your competitors
espionage
are doing. Yeah.
But and Iger basically said, and I think this is true, and I think it makes sense, like he was like, listen, we specifically do things at a certain cadence, right? Like we try to open a new ride every year, a new land every year, you're doing it in pieces as opposed to all at once this big park. And it makes sense to me, and it's true, because literally every time I go to Disney, there's something new that I haven't done yet. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what keeps people coming. And it makes sense to me that why they were, that kind of strategy. Now, with the stuff we're going to talk about in this episode, when they build new lands, of course, that's something that happens all at once. But, over the past 5-6 years here, we've been, a ride here, a ride there, a land there, a ride, it's just been kind of constantly going. you know?
Yeah. I feel like, sorry, I think you're oversimplifying that a little bit in that it's not that Disney is just like, oh, we have to do one thing every year. I feel like there's like different channels of like small, medium, large stuff. And I feel like you're right that they always have small things happening every year so that we can, you know, see something new every year. But then, yeah, these medium and large things, like to the point of Epic Universe, like those are probably like 10-year out plans. Like we kind of saw that with Galaxy's Edge, like how long it took from when they announced Galaxy's Edge, which that was even like well into planning when they finally announced it, and then the time to build it, right? Like it was a long time. But yeah, sorry, I know what you're saying, that you know it's not like they're just like simply like, or that's not what Bob was saying on the investors meeting. But yeah, I think to your point, there is a lot that we only see everything that happens at the surface, and you don't realize how much there is really going on in the background, which,
of course,
I know we're going to talk about Tiana's Bayou adventure here, but I assume you watched the video, the Imagineer video that they put out about it. Yeah. So that was some interesting behind the scenes of like,
of course,
like into like the whole Imagineering process, which kind of opened my eyes to like how, like things I never thought about with it. Right. But we'll come back around to that. Yeah.
I just want to really quickly, I just want to read what Iger said. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he said that the question was, with Epic Universe opening in Orlando in 2025, why hasn't Disney prepared anything or placed more than just a handful of attractions in the pipeline to be ready in 2025 at Walt Disney World? And he said, thank you very much for the question, but that couldn't be further from the truth. We've been aware of Universal's plans for a new park for more than a decade, and we have a sophisticated approach to analyzing the needs of all of our businesses and strategically deploying capital. I just want to remind you of a few of the things that Walt Disney World did in the same period: Pandora, Toy Story Land, Galaxy's Edge, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the transformation of EPCOT, Journey of Water, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Tron Life Cycle Run. So that's from 2017 to 23. That's all the stuff that they did.
So that's like an entire theme park worth of stuff.
Exactly.
Because it was a slow drip. I think that's the hard thing people don't grasp, right?
Yeah, but what he says is, so by staggering these major launches, we've been able to commercially and operationally optimize our new offerings over time rather than having to do it all at once. And based on guest experience that we've heard about through all these new items I've just mentioned, we know they're extremely popular and they're serving our guests very well. So, I mean, he's literally saying, what we kind of talked about is like operationally it makes more sense, but also like it keeps you wanting to come because there's always something new,
Yeah, but it's not the same as getting hit in the face with a whole new park, right?
Well, no, you're right. Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, in general. Yeah. So, anyway, we got lots to talk about, so we should get into it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Do we want to start with? We have a listener question up front here. So
do you want to read Chris's question from Discord?
Yeah. So Chris says, do you think WDW will soon be oversaturated with DVC resorts when the Poly Tower opens? If you think they have room to add more, what do you think the max number of DVC resorts, or what do you think is the max number of DVC resorts at WDW? Do I think that they're oversaturated with DVC resorts? I would say no, because it feels, I mean, there's still more places I feel like they could put resorts, whether or not they're easily accessible to the parks. I feel like they could do like potentially like another like Saratoga type resort, but I guess I'm also thinking of like, there's areas over like closer to the Hollywood Studios and even like by the All Stars resorts that, and I'm not saying like, there has to be a DVC resort near like every existing resort or every existing park, but I don't think that I don't think they're saturated, but I also don't think they need to be releasing the resorts at the same cadence they have been.
I get what you're saying, because they've been building so many, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger thing, is that it seems like they've done a lot in the last like 10 years that they don't. I can see it slowing down. I wouldn't say that it's saturated.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the total, I mean, there's, I don't know how many total Disney rooms there are. I'm sure I could look that up. If you look at just like the total amount of hotel rooms, it's pretty small percentage of the total hotel rooms.
I mean, even like the biggest example of that too is like the current poly layout. If you look at the DVC buildings versus like DVC versus the rest of the poly resort, there's only 3 buildings that are DVC, and then there's like another 8 buildings that are non-DVC. So yeah, to your point, it's, they are a very small fraction of the overall amount of space at Disney.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, that's, I think they're going to keep building, right? I mean, it's not like they're not going to keep building things, right? I think they are, as long as DVC keeps selling and keeps being a profitable thing. I think they're going to keep building it. And I'm actually here for it, honestly, because I like having the options. I like, being able to go to different resorts and actually have more capacity there, especially if, they're going to be, expanding the park so much too, right? Like I want there to be more hotel rooms along with that. So, and it's interesting too, because the way that Disney has been wording like their announcements is that they said, like 70% of the budget that they're spending is on, capacity, right? Capacity could also mean more hotel rooms, right? Like it doesn't just mean new lands and parks. It could also mean more hotel rooms. So, I mean, we could maybe expect more hotels too. I don't know. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't feel it's oversaturated. I think I think, kind of back to we were talking earlier about the investors call and, the cadence of rides and everything is I think DVC needs to dial back a little bit on the amount of places they're opening up just in the short term. And then, once they've kind of stabilized on operations as it stands, like once the current tower is done and everything, then I think, they should be looking at new resorts after that. But
yeah,
if we start hearing about like, if they're like, oh, Reflections version 2 is going to be happening like in 2026, it's like, okay, come on. Like
Reflections version 2.0, yeah, Reflections 2.0.
Yeah. Reflections Electric Boogaloo. I don't know, but
oh man. So continuing on.
Yeah, let's talk about a rumor.
Okay. So this rumor is that the Frontierland Shootin Arcade at Magic Kingdom is to close permanently to make room for the new Disney Vacation Club lounge that Disney Vacation Club announced but never said where it was going to be. So what they're saying is the last day will be May 27th, and operation scheduled for last day of operation scheduled for May 27th. Again, this is a rumor, by the way, so like we don't know if this is actually true. Well, and then once it closes,
the rumor that it's closing, or the rumor that there's going to be a lounge.
I think it's both. Okay. Rumor that it's closing to become the lounge. Yeah. So I mean, I have to say this was not the place I was thinking that they were going to put the lounge. I mean, I had a feeling they were going to do Magic Kingdom, but
it seems like just such a middle of everything spot that just, I don't know.
But is that a bad thing though? Like, I feel like
yes, absolutely, it's a bad thing.
Really? Because I feel like that's the place I want to stop, is like in the middle of everything.
Yeah, I want the lounge in the middle. I don't want to have to walk off into like
that's what I'm saying,
some corner somewhere to get to it.
No, that's what I like about it. It's not in the mix.
You want it off to a corner,
like the EPCOT one.
That's why you like the EPCOT lounge, is because it's inconvenient to get to.
You're already starting on your relaxation because you're walking through an area that's not so hustle bustly just to begin with.
I mean, that's fair because, if we all know if there's a line at Figment, then it's a busy day at EPCOT, right? Like there's, there's usually not a line at Figment. So, and nobody's, I mean, is anybody even going into the theater next to it? I mean, I think they're still doing the short films in there. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't go in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody goes in there. The only thing that was good in there was what Captain EO back in the day, right? So that was the good thing to go to. But anyway, I don't know. I just like it being in the middle of stuff. I just feel like that'll be great. Like I can go relax a little bit and then go, hit up Big Thunder right there. or Tiki Room, whatever. Trevor, you just like it because it's going to be right by the Dole Whip. So,
I mean, I can get Dole Whip back at the Polly's, so I'm not that hard up to go to Aloha Isle. But I guess
take Dole Whip into the lounge though.
That would be a question, or whether or not maybe they would.
They should put a Dole Whip machine.
Can you take food into the other place, into the Epcot lounge?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, they offer snacks in the lounge, so I don't see why you couldn't walk in there with something.
We brought popcorn
like with
in
quick
there
serve.
before.
Can you walk in with quick serve though?
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
There's no quick serve close enough to the Epcot lounge for me to.
It's a valid
want to try that, right? I'm not walking for 15 minutes with my food so I can sit in the lounge and eat it.
Walking all the way from Connections over to
right.
Yeah. I mean, I brought popcorn up there before from the popcorn cart that's like right outside of the Imagination
But
Pavilion.
that's snack material too. I guess. I guess ice cream falls into the same realm. Or does
I don't know.
Dole Whip fall into the same realm? I feel like that's a mess waiting to happen. But I guess you could spill a soda too. So
they have the Coke Freestyle machines in the lounge already. Like if they were that worried about it, they wouldn't offer snacks and drinks.
Can I make floats then?
Can you make a float?
I don't know. Like, can I start bringing in Dole Whip and making floats with the machine? I don't know.
I mean, how great would that be though if in the lounge they had a free Dole Whip like station,
like just a self-serve machine? Yeah.
Nah,
I don't want that. That's
what? No,
that's a bad idea.
That cheapens it. Is that what you're saying, or is it?
It definitely cheapens it, but
it also turns
in the lounge.
What'd you say?
You'll never get in there anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It turns it into a thing where people are like gaming to get as many Dole Whips as they can out of the lounge. Right?
Anything turns into a bad idea.
Yeah,
it's a chaos.
In general. Yeah, I mean, think about how chaotic it is at McCool's, right? Like that's pretty chaotic too.
Yeah, Club McCool's. And I feel like you haven't made a reference to that in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I even feel like last time we were there, the rudeness that happens at that place is just mind-boggling, to be honest with you. And I don't even think it's like almost like they don't even know. They don't even know. People are just like hopped up on sugar and they're not really like paying attention, and it's free, and it turns into just like
they're on a sugar high.
Wow, this person really just walked right in front of me. Okay, cool. Like
now here's the other thing about so theorizing about this lounge. There's turkey legs sold right outside of there too. I don't want people like.
You don't want
turkey legs
rolling up with a turkey leg in the lounge. I don't want that.
We got to have lounge etiquette. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I know I've seen people complain before about people taking their shoes off and putting them up on the furniture in the Epcot lounge.
Terrible, dude.
They told us about that when we were there the last time.
Oh, they told you not to?
Specifically, they were like, yeah, your feet stay on the floor. Like they actually said that to us when we went.
They just knew. They knew you were sort of person that might take off your shoes.
Well, yeah. You know me.
That's it to me, but yeah.
I was getting.
You came in the Birkenstocks, the Canadian Birkenstock scenario. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like that's what like akin to that though, right? Like bringing in a giant turkey leg and just starting to eat that in the lounge. I mean,
turkey legs are like kind of an out thing for us. Like I think when the kids were younger, it was like, oh, turkey leg, and now it's like, there's no way.
Yeah, but
I would never.
The thing
is
that like they kind of like the turkey legs gives off a smell, right? Like it's I don't want to be sitting in the lounge and smelling everybody eating. Like even if it's not like right in front of me, it's like I don't want to deal with that. So for all that, it's like it feels to me like this lounge is a bad idea if this is the rumor and this is where it's going to be.
I still want to know if you're actually even allowed to bring in food. Like I just don't think.
Well, maybe they just say no.
Imagine.
Yeah, like maybe if you walk up with a turkey leg,
even if the Epcot
get
one. I mean, have you ever seen anyone with food in Epcot? I mean, I consider popcorn a snack. So
not other than like small snacks. Yeah,
you'd have to go to Sunshine Seasons in the Land and get some food and walk it over. Like that's the closest place.
I've never seen such a thing though.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like it's so out of the way to go and do that nobody does it anyway. But the difference is that this lounge where the shooting gallery is,
I don't even want to sit in the lounge and smell turkey legs, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point.
Yeah. But
from outside, not even from inside.
It even gets worse the more you think about it, because you've also got what's that place that sells the seafood nearby?
Oh,
where you get the lobster rolls.
Columbia Harbor House.
I cannot
Harbor
stand
House.
seafood either.
Yeah,
Like,
so if they just allow you to bring in whatever food into this lounge, you've got Harbor House nearby, you've got turkey legs.
I just don't think you can anyway. I just don't
Yeah.
think that's.
I think they'll stop you.
Seafood absolutely ruins a dinner for me.
But these are all reasons.
The table, is even having seafood. Like, I don't even want to order anymore because it's not even worth eating, to be honest with you.
So that's why I'm thinking about like where this lounge is that you're kind of convincing me, Damon, why it's a bad idea that it's like in the middle of it. That's what
I'm saying, man. Yeah. Give it on the outskirts, man.
I mean, I'm okay. I'm just happy that there's a lounge coming to Magic Kingdom. Like,
this is not going to be it, man. Like,
this is a rumor, though. There's no guarantee that this is the lounge.
This is not going to be it, man.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, you think this is a false rumor?
I think this is a false rumor. I mean, we can go ahead 20 episodes, and then I could be wrong, but I think it's a false rumor.
All right,
we'll see.
All right, yeah. I mean, I guess we'll see. To your point, though, Damon. Like, and a lot of people have pointed this out. That shooting gallery is not large. It's not a big space. Like, so unless they're closing whatever's behind it too.
See, and here's the other thing too. Like in Epcot, the lounge being out of the way absolutely means that not as many people are going to use it.
That's true. Yeah.
You think right? As a DVC owner, the last thing I want is to have to deal with frustration of a benefit, no matter what that benefit is.
Or like, this almost like sounds like virtual queuing for a lounge. Like if you start to think about it, like on a busy day, it turns into, people rushing to get to the lounge first so that they can get their
sit around and eat turkey legs.
Yeah, so they can eat their turkey legs and watch the parade from the lounge, right? Like,
that's another thing. You almost can't have that. You can't have the lounge have the ability to see the parade.
Yeah, unless it's a gigantic lounge. Unless it's a huge lounge, right?
I don't think there's a lounge big enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it would turn into a disaster.
Well, and there's no way you could reasonably do it because you would have to have like the viewing area. If you look at the buildings along there, they all have very small windows. You would have like everybody crowded around tiny windows looking out into
basically Tomorrowland Terrace.
Worse.
So it's smaller. I just that's what I've started to realize is that, again, like any benefit, even perceived benefits, I just don't want the hassle that goes along with it. Like even there's frustration factor when I'm like, go to Epcot and like, I just want to go to the lounge, and it's like, you gotta come back in 10 minutes. It's like for real? Like, okay. Yeah. Like I just don't like that.
You want frictionless benefits, or else it's not a benefit.
Frictionless benefit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I get it. We did that with the lounge. It was walk up. We were tired. It was the middle of the day, and that was where we were taking our break. And I didn't want any static. I wanted to walk up. We got our seat in the lounge. We had drinks and snacks, and that's what I want out of the lounge too. I don't want to be worrying about, depending on the time of day, it's going to be either crazy busy or maybe you'll just never get in there because it's Magic Kingdom, right?
I kind of feel like Magic Kingdom shouldn't have a lounge. I know people aren't going to like that, but I mean, that's just the way I feel. I think that's the park that does not need a lounge.
When we were speculating about it, we were kind of talking about how Magic Kingdom would have to have a very large lounge, right? Like,
I don't even think there should be one.
Yeah.
I get all the things that you think about that kind of make a trip not bad, because I think that's just not a good way to look at it. But, it's funny as you get older and older and the kids meet more and more people, you start to talk to them about Disney and just get an understanding of, what their take is on Disney and how a lot of them will say they've gone once and that was it. And then you start to dig and you understand that, there's these perceived little things that impact a trip that you don't necessarily think about, for us, because we're just all Disney people.
Yeah.
But when you're not a Disney person, and I don't know, bring, a 4-year-old saying, I just want to relax and go, oh, okay, there's a lounge in Frontierland. It's great. We'll go there. And then going there and then not being able to get in, let's just say for whatever argument, it doesn't matter why. As a 4-year-old, I don't know, man, maybe it sticks by you. Like, and you just go, that was just not it. Like that Disney trip was, I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't know. I feel like sometimes there's, you got to make it easy. You got to make
What if we took Tom Sawyer Island and turned
that into a lounge?
A whole DVC island. And you got to take a boat
boy.
to it, but you know.
Oh, okay. Hold on. So you're making it hard to get there. So you got to
Yeah, because you have to take a boat to it. Yeah.
Tom Sawyer's Island is just naturally difficult to get
and there's
to.
nothing to do on it though. Right.
So you're
there's
saying you would
there's
tear
no benefit.
all the stuff, like you just tear down all the stuff and
Yeah. Like there's no benefit of going there. There's nothing like, oh, there's something special there. Like, no, it's just a lounge.
Big open field with chairs.
Exactly. I could get on board with that. Like that I could get on board with. I'll be honest, I think about some of the things that they should do. You know, this pipe dream stuff is when you have Cinderella's castle room. I think there should be DVC only rooms where every year you're kind of put into a raffle for them.
They just do it yearly. They just one DVC member gets the room.
The lottery, like
no, not per year, every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Oh,
yeah. Every day someone could say that. Well, whatever the turnover has to be, but you get one night there. But it should be a special room in each one of the parks, and DVC members are eligible. So you go in, you put your date in, and when you put your date in, there's a raffle.
I mean,
there should be like no way that it ever gets like pixie dusted outside of the raffle, though, because
absolutely
the raffle is sacred.
Yeah.
The raffle is the wheel.
I agree, but it has to not be able to be gamified, right? Because
and one chance per contract
per lifetime.
No, not per lifetime. It's per contract per year, and no resale people. Not allowed.
Yeah, you got to leave only can have the blue card people.
Blue card people only.
Well, that's one of the things that Brian asked on Discord with rumors floating around that Disney's turning the shooting arcade into the DVC lounge. Should it be blue card only? I feel like everything that's an extra benefit at this point is blue card only.
It should. It should be.
The EPCOT lounge is blue card. Like,
yeah. The only thing that's not blue card is Top of the World, right? I mean, it's Top of the World's like you can get up there without blue card, but that's it.
And that should be blue card anyway. Yeah. Should all be blue card.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
shouldn't even be allowed in Disney. Should only be able to stay at the hotel.
Man.
The park and wow, that's a little harsh. That's rough.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this?
No.
I'm just gonna go on record here with Damon that I think that this is not going to be a lounge.
Wow.
Okay. Even if it does close, I don't.
It's going to be a quick serve, man. It's going to still duck legs.
Something. Or maybe they'll actually revamp it. Like it'll
Turkey
still be a shooting arcade, but it'll be like maybe they'll actually update it to something. I don't know. Like
maybe they'll just update the technology of it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem like too small of a space. That's the only thing that I feel like I'm in agreement with you guys that it's not a real rumor. It's just it's too small. Like you need more space there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about these animatronics, right?
So what I think I found interesting about this is that CNET actually did a whole video on these.
Oh yeah,
and some other things as well.
Yeah.
I saw that video actually. Yeah,
they also had the walking floor. What do they call it again? Holotile.
The holotile.
Yeah. So this, I mean, you can watch a video of all these though too on the new series that YouTube series that they launched. But I mean, these animatronics look amazing, right? I mean, and first of all, you're going from old Splash Mountain, which was literally recycled animatronics, to literally the most advanced ones that they make, right? Like
3D printed electric motion. Like there's no pneumatics, there's no old technology. These things are new. Like I have to say the Lewis animatronic impressed me the most.
See, I think the Mama Odie one does for me, but her face just looks
but like the way that they did all the sectional movement of him to me, like that was so impressive, and I can't wait to see it like in action fully, right?
Yeah, good. I mean it looks cool. I mean it definitely looks cool, but again, it's like, all right. I mean it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that got me, Trevor, was watching the video. We were talking about how we both watched the Imagineering video, right? And when they were showing how they do the animations and like just kind of showing how they animate each part, it just looks so incredibly complicated to me that I was like, it was hurting my head. I was, go ahead.
And I was going to say, are these better than the Navi animation?
I think technically, yes.
Technically, they would be better only because in the time since the Navi one came out till now, there have been more and more improvements in what they're doing. And I think one of the big things, or what struck me, was I noticed the amount of 3D printing that went into it. Seems like I think they've like 3D printing is still, it's not like new, but
it's not mainstream really. It's more mainstream, but not as much.
Yeah, I feel like they've really found, like, again, you know, looking at the way that they were showing off the skeleton of some of those animatronics, that 3D printing process, like it makes it why you know they were saying, like, you know, there's like 5 different iterations of the same animatronic and it looks consistent across all of them. And you know, when you think about that from like scaling out manufacturing wise, I feel like that, like the Navi one was like a prototype, and this is where they're getting into, they can like mass produce these kinds of animatronics, which that like it's a very cool thing to see, like you know. So I love 3D printing stuff. I would love to get into 3D printing, but I just don't have the bandwidth for it. Like it's a whole, I have a friend who does it, and it's a hobby in and of itself, but you know, using it commercially like that is just super impressive.
Well, and they do note in this article that, so these are part of the A1000 figure platform. So it's the A1000 version, I guess, of the animatronics, which debuted with Galaxy's Edge, which means then that, yes, these are more advanced than the Pandora.
So the only thing that I find kind of a little bit annoying is you look at the main characters, right, are done so well and they're so lifelike. And then it kind of just like, I don't know, it drags me out, like when I see the snake. Like, and I'm just like,
it's just, the snake is just kind of,
like to me, I just go
a little stiff.
Yeah. I think that's the problem that I'm having, is like, you have like this great stuff, but like it's next to the stuff that's not so great. And I just wish they had kind of, I don't know, but you know what I mean? It kind of drags me out of it because the other stuff is so good.
Yeah.
And then I see the snake and I'm just like, dude, stupid.
Well, maybe the snake will be better. I don't know. But
I mean, you can see the snake though. I mean, what do you mean it'll be better?
I don't know. Maybe it's just, you know, because they showed some different iterations of, like, you know, of these things, right? So like one of the Lewises that they showed was not complete yet, right? I think they were still building it, right? Like, because there's the other part about
but this is. Yeah. I think this snake is complete. Like,
the snake looking at the beignets looked like it looked like a solid piece that was already done.
I thought they were just being silly with that, and that was not actually something that's going to be in the ride. So,
well, I like Damon. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, you know, that's going to be like it looked like it was going to be like with Mama Odie, and like kind of off, like, you know, looking at the beignets, which, but then, I get what you're saying, Damon. That it feels like, you know, everything else is like.
So good,
you know, got the, you know, the actuation and the you know, the detail, and then you've got like this single plastic piece, right?
Yeah,
like,
I guess you can't do everything like that. I mean, but wouldn't that be great?
Yeah,
it would be.
Wouldn't it be great if they could? Yeah. Well, the other thing to note too, right, is they showed the one Mama Odie figure, and they showed the one Tiana figure and the one Lewis figure, but there's multiple of these figures throughout the ride, right? Like they have multiple of these advanced animatronics throughout the ride, so which is, you know, it's a lot of animatronics, right?
So I saw a Facebook reel that somebody, because, you know, people are breaking down that video, and
like stuff in the background and stuff like that.
Yeah, so somebody like freeze framed on. It looked like they actually had a plan. Like there's like 21 different scenes or something throughout the ride. And so like that one Lewis that they showed was it was like number 5 or something like that. So like they kind of, or to that point, like they're planning for, there could be up to 21 iterations of each animatronic depending on how many scenes they're in, right?
There could be a lot of these, right?
Yeah.
You know what I find crazy about this ride though? So I think more about Disney, about just being like, you know, everyone can do everything. My daughter will not ride this ride.
She will not ride
Splash Mountain.
I mean, I like Splash Mountain.
I don't like boat rides. I don't like boat rides.
She says she doesn't like anything that, like, with that sort of drop. Like, she'll never do Tower of Terror. I mean, she'll do minimal roller coasters, but like, she won't go on this. I don't know. It was just kind of
my wife
funny.
do it either. I mean, she stopped doing these kind of rides years ago too. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I love the animatronics, and again, I know it's kind of a refresh, but I just wish there was something different going on here too. Like I'm going to see the animatronics.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I already been on the ride. Going to see the animatronics. Okay.
Yeah.
Why just put the animatronics out in a show somewhere? Why aren't there animatronic shows?
Country Bear.
Well,
Country Bear is an animatronic show.
I mean, is Country Bear going to be animatronics like this? That would be phenomenal.
Maybe that's what Country Bears is going to get when it opens.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be amazing if they upgraded the Country Bear animatronics.
The Muppets. I would. That's really all they need to do to make me happy. Like, I will never say a terrible thing about Disney again if they put the Muppets back in with animatronics like this. I'm in.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I agree.
I will say one thing though. I know you're saying like it's a refresh of the ride and everything, but one thing that like, because they've been releasing the like the character backgrounds and everything, right? Like each character actually has a bit of a background to them. I appreciate the fact that that the ride is like, they could have really just gone the easy route, which kind of like they did with The Little Mermaid, where it's like, hey, this is just like the movie as a ride, right? But it seems like this is actually going to be its own thing. Like it still exists in the universe of Princess and the Frog, but it's going to have its own,
a whole different story. Yeah.
It's going to have its own thing, right? Like I do appreciate that. Like, yes, I know it's still Splash Mountain and everything, but I feel like it's going to be unique enough that it will justify, you know, hey, yeah, there is a bunch of new animatronics and all this new stuff going on that, you know, might be enough to convince people to ride it that maybe ridden Splash Mountain.
It's not something to drive me to the park yet. I have yet to hear about something that's going to drive me to Disney. Now, again, when we go, there'll be things to see that we haven't done. Absolutely. But this is not something that's like, oh, I got to go to Disney.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that.
Maybe that's the segue into the next topic then.
Well, we don't even know what this is going to be, though, right? Like, we have no idea what this is going to be. So, according to Scott Gustin, who is a pretty reliable source on these things, and he posts a lot on Twitter, X, whatever, he's saying that in the next few weeks here that Disney's going to begin its permit process for what they're calling the Beyond Big Thunder project, which they teased back at, D23. I'm guessing, and they've been saying also that this is going to be the largest expansion ever for Magic Kingdom. I'm guessing that they don't have the concepts done for this. I think they're just going to get a head start and clear the land and do all the infrastructure stuff while they're finishing up the plan.
That doesn't seem very Disney-like.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. You think we would have seen an inkling of it?
Why? No. From who?
We usually get teases of things. I mean,
I think they're too far out for teases, but I think they know what they're doing.
I think they probably have a general idea. I'm just saying that maybe they're not completely done. I'm just saying, they maybe have a general idea of what the land's going to look like, but
I just don't know if you start clearing land if you don't know what you're 100% what's happening there.
Yeah.
So I think Disney learned their lesson from Galaxy's Edge.
Which is
what I think. So when they announced Galaxy's Edge, they did it well before they broke ground on Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland or Disney World. And I remember because I was watching some vloggers in Disneyland when it was all happening, and the thing is that it created a lot of hype up front where everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, this is coming," whatever.
Something far away.
But then, yeah, I remember watching. I was interested for a while, but then it got to the point where people were in Disneyland, they were actually going to the parking structure because you could see over into the area that they were doing construction, and they were like, oh yeah, they moved that dirt over there, and they put this here. Yeah. It was like, okay, this is gonna be we're not doing this every week for the next 2 years.
I know people have YouTube channels specifically. That's what they do.
Yeah, but that's fine. But the thing is that for them that's great. But the general public feeling around it was that I feel like a lot of people it burned off so much of the hype that by the time Galaxy's Edge came around, it was more a sense of finally, not oh my gosh, here's this next thing, right? I feel that them breaking ground on this stuff doesn't mean that they don't have a plan. I think that Disney's just holding their cards closer to their chest right now.
And I think it's interesting because we talk about so many people are like, oh, this means that we're getting Villain's Land. No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
I don't.
Not at
Again,
all.
we talked about this. I don't think that there's going to be such a thing anyway. And you're not putting it right there. I don't think. Right? You're not putting it in Magic Kingdom. I mean, if you're putting it anywhere, I mean, I guess anything is possible, but I just don't see that.
Hollywood
happen.
Studio tracks closer.
Yeah.
For that
Yeah,
than,
absolutely. I mean, unless you're talking about just such a watered down villain's land that's not scary, that doesn't, again, it harkens back to this whole thing of like, you're going to put a villain's land in there, people are going to go there and their kids are going to be mad, and then they're never going back to Disney.
See, I want to see Night on Bald Mountain in real life if I'm going to Villain's Land. Like that's some scary stuff.
Well, and I'm not saying they don't have a plan, by the way. I'm saying they do have a plan. I'm just saying maybe they don't have everything completely fleshed out yet, right? Like it's almost done, right? Like it's to the point where they know what the land's going to be, they know what space it's going to occupy. That they're just going to start work now.
Nah, see, I think they have everything done, and they're just
maybe. I don't know.
Tell us, because it would be a planning nightmare if they didn't. What if something changed? What if things were like, oh, you know what, we can't do that, but wait, we already cleared the land like this. We already did that.
But maybe they're clearing a wide swath of land to even have it for more expansion, right?
I don't know.
They're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to do another California Adventure.
I know,
because that's what happened with the California Adventure was that they had a plan for it, and then when it came about, people were like, "This totally missed the mark," and then they had to go back and do a bunch of like refitting stuff, which it's a lot better now, but when it like those first couple of years when it opened, it was rough.
So what do you think is going to be back there?
That's a good question, Damon. I definitely don't think Encanto is happening like that original concept art, because they're now doing Encanto at Animal Kingdom, right? So like I think Encanto's out. I think Coco might still be in, because Coco almost kind of, I don't know. I feel like they can fit it over there.
It's Mexican culture, and I feel like there is some like Frontierland definitely has some Mexican vibes going on with Pecos Bills and all that.
Yeah. So I feel like that kind of fits. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I don't think they're doing the Villain's Land, but I also don't know what else they're going to do. So I can't even speculate.
Is there a roller coaster back there?
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, in this concept art, there's nothing.
When are we seeing these hollow tiles? Like, can I get something like that back there? That would make me be all happy.
You just want the hollow tiles to like walk you around the park. So you don't
I think it's probably like, it's again, right? It's a game-changing technology. And they were talking more about it. The CNET people were talking about it too. Like the biggest thing for that was, doing like Star Wars Force stuff. So I feel like that's probably where it's going to be in a
that would make for the coolest Encanto house ever.
It would though.
Yeah, right. Actually,
because like in the movie, how the house like moves people around, like
oh man, maybe
that would
use
be
it
really
for that.
Cool.
That would be so cool if they did that. Yeah,
I think we're a long time away from actually. Yeah. I think we're going to see it first somewhere else before Disney. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Now, so the interesting thing, just back to the whole Villain's Land thing, is I heard some crazy, or I feel this is crazy speculation that, and again, back to the point, if they're starting stuff here, this is probably not their intent. That people were thinking that they were waiting to see how the Epic Universe Monsters
such a different audience though.
But the rationale was, seeing how that played out with audiences.
But it's not their audience. Right. That's what everyone argues. So you have the same people that are like, oh, maybe it's because they're waiting to see. But then these are the same people that are like, well, the audience for Disney is not the same as Universal. You have to vote one way or the other.
Which is it? Yeah.
I also guarantee you they know exactly what they're doing. Right? Like what happens between these two companies? It's like an NFL team that gets the wide receiver mid-season from their rivals so they can share the playbook, right? Like Disney does that with Imagineers and vice versa with Universal.
Yeah, but there's not NDAs involved in football.
I know. What? It still happens though. I guarantee. I mean, because Disney literally said we've known what they were doing for a decade. Like Iger just said, we've known what they were doing for a decade. So, I think they just know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they share it amongst themselves. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have a pretty good idea of what they're doing there.
I think they might have an idea, but
yeah.
What if it's things from? And again, I know maybe not everyone wants to hear this, but what if it's things that are already existing in the other parks overseas? Because they just did that expansion for. I know. I get that too. Is that it feels like it's low effort
at this point.
But
you're talking like Utopia or like Frozen Land or
Neverland, Frozen, Tangled, like all those things have their own lands now at Tokyo Disney. What if it's something like that goes back there?
It could be. I mean, if they do it differently, like, we're going to talk later about
Fantasy Springs is what it's called.
Yeah. So the Avatar thing that they're going to do at Disneyland is very clearly different than what is at Disney World. Right. So like they could do the same property and do it very differently,
They could, but I think Trevor's saying, what if they didn't? And what if they didn't? They just planted. I mean, they could. Updated
like how they did Tron, right?
Yeah.
Which is total lame-o.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's possible. I mean, I could see them maybe doing Zootopia or doing. I could see Frozen Land happening. Honestly, I think they probably want to capitalize more on Frozen, even though Frozen already exists over at Epcot. But I think they would love the opportunity to build the whole land.
I feel Neverland is actually kind of missing. They do, because for as much hype as there is around the Peter Pan ride, like that's it. If you think about it, like there is a lot of potential there.
I feel like less and less people, like when we always go, like, we don't always do the Peter Pan ride, but like my parents always do the Peter Pan ride, right? Like, do younger kids care about the Peter Pan ride?
Do younger kids care about Peter Pan at all? Like,
no, they don't. My kids definitely don't care about that ride.
Yeah.
Well, neither do mine.
Yeah.
But yet it's always packed.
That's the problem. We all say, none of us care about Peter Pan, yet somehow that ride always has an hour.
Always packed.
Yeah. I like the ride, but I'm not going to wait an hour for it. Like I would wait maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes for it,
I do 30. Yeah. But when I see that 40 and up, like I'm done.
It's a late evening ride when all the kids are gone out of Fantasyland.
Yeah. I think it's more that kids just don't know Peter Pan, right? Like it's not a property that they even really use all that.
Doesn't fit this cultural age, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, my kid knew it because there used to be Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
Oh yeah.
True. So
they have a
pretty good show, by the way.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is it feels like it's a cyclical thing where maybe
that's so long ago though, Trevor.
It is,
but that's what I'm saying is that they do this where things fall out for a while and then they'll bring it back. So maybe the next iteration of bringing it back is they'll do a new Peter Pan something and they'll tie it to this new land that they're planning for. Right.
What if they do so they already have Beauty and the Beast. I was gonna say, what if they do that Beauty and the Beast ride that they have over at one of the Asian parks that's really cool.
Yeah, I don't want to see that either, man.
Yeah. I'm done with Beauty and the Beast.
All right. Well, I mean, you guys what do you want over there?
I want new rides. Why can't we just have new rides based on IPs that don't exist in parks already?
I mean,
I get Frozen, right? I understand the allure of that. There's one more Frozen 25 coming out this year or next year or something?
My daughter still listens to Let It Go every day. So, I mean, it's not, it's has staying power.
Yeah. So, I could see that. But outside of that, man, just give me something new. Again, what I would want? I'd want a whole new IP that exists nowhere.
Or Gummy Bears. Yeah.
Or Gummy Bears Land. I'd take Milo Mayhem. I take a lot of shows, to be honest with you.
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls, a DuckTales Land. the DuckTales Land, so sell me on that.
Tailspin Land.
Dude, this doesn't have that weight because there was not really a new Tailspin.
Yeah. What was the name of it? It wasn't, Cape Canaveral was Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
What was Tailspin? That was, I'm drawing a blank on it now.
Yeah, I am too.
Man. Anyway, that would be up now. Yeah, like I said, for me, DuckTales would make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb. Could you imagine that? I'd get down.
Cape Suzette. There we go.
Cape Suzette, yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what they actually decide here. But I do think Encanto's out. I think Coco can maybe still stay in there. Although I still think that they should replace, Three Caballeros right over at Epcot with Coco. But
no,
never.
Yes.
Never. No.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's crazy talk, man.
It's not crazy talk. I love the Grand Fiesta Tour. Don't get me wrong.
Because if you loved it, you wouldn't want it gone.
I like updating. I love the Maelstrom too, and I like when things are new. I'm
fine with the Grand Fiesta Tour is fine the way it is.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Okay. You got me looking at upcoming Disney movies to try and find out what but
they're not going to, I feel like even though that would be great, they're not going to bank on something. And listen, what would you sign me up if they did an Inside Out?
Oh, that'd be cool.
I was thinking about that, but that's a Pixar thing.
Yeah.
And is there really a lot But that doesn't exist in Magic Kingdom. Like it feels like that's fair in Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
But
it also skews, I think Inside Out skews a little bit older anyway.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
We don't go to Magic Kingdom. Like we just don't, because why? Why do I need to go? Like the nostalgic part, okay, been a million times, but for the kids at their age, like what do they want to go for? Like I'm against, like, for us at our kids' age, like, dude, don't ride Dumbo anymore. Like let little kids ride that, man. We're good.
I get that. We should probably do our ad here. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Trevor.
Well, just one last thing here. So I'm looking at like upcoming Disney movies, and the hard part is that like to your point, Damon, about you want a new not existing IP. Like everything for the most part coming out is sequels.
Yeah.
So it's like what do you put out there, right? Like what could you do as a new? The only thing I see is that there's something called, I'm going to mispronounce this, Elio or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a Pixar
That
show.
is an original. Yeah, that's an original one that's coming out. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to your point, I mean, they don't. Where did I see the whole thing about, after Frozen came out, they really didn't expect Frozen to be anything, and then it was a huge hit, and then they kind of like had to scramble basically to get the.
You have to, because the rides cost so much money, and they're stuck there for a while. You can't I'm sure they think all of their stuff is going to be good, because I mean most of it is.
Yeah, well, most of it is. Yeah. All right, so the sponsor of this episode is DVC Rental Store. The DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com/welcome home or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right, so this was a rumor a couple weeks ago that actually turned out to be true.
No, wait, hold on. We have to skip, because I'm getting tapped out here. Can we go to Encanto and Indiana Jones?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. We can skip ahead to that if you want. Yeah.
I like that. So Imagineers preview a model of Encanto and Indiana Jones attractions.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel. Like, dude, I'm upset about Dinosaur at the end of the day. Right? Like,
I get that. I like Dinosaur.
I really liked it. But I think it's funny because more and more people are coming to light that said like it had like a bad scare effect on their kids.
Well, I that's probably the scariest ride left at Disney, right? I mean,
could be.
Yeah, so my sister won't go on it as a 34-year-old, 36-year-old human being. Like she won't go on it. She's terrified of it.
So the question is, Trevor,
Indy is more intense.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So it's not scary, but it's intense.
It's less dark, though, right? I mean,
okay, I guess. Okay, so here's the difference: is that in the Indiana Jones ride, you see a lot more. Like it's a lot more wide open. Dinosaur feels very claustrophobic, and there's a lot of like spots where the dinosaurs come out at you. But the breadth of things that Indiana Jones covers, because there is snakes, there is bugs, there is
Indiana Jones has some outside stuff, right? Are they going to make the? Is it all inside?
It's all inside. So it plays out like the track is exactly the same as Dinosaur, and you start off inside. Like you're inside the building and you never go outside. But the Indiana Jones ride, like I said, it's not, or I guess it's less jump scares, but I can see where like there's certain parts of the ride that would like. I think back to my younger self and like how the Haunted Mansion freaked me out. I can see where on younger, because it did like legitimately, I had memories of the Haunted Mansion where it like,
dude, I'm watching this Indiana Jones ride right now. It looks scary as craziness. It looks worse than Dinosaur.
It's intense. Like I said, it's awesome. Like and so to give context, my son has ridden both. He rode the first time he rode Indy, he was 6 years old, and he was he came off of it, and it took me a minute to get a read on him, and I think it took him a minute to process it, and then he was like, okay, that was cool. But it like there was minute, there was the minute of like, what did I just see, right? But then when he kind of realized that it was like okay, like you know, that we were at Disney,
this rolling boulder just looks garbage though.
What?
It's
the Indiana Jones above the rolling boulder just looks like terrible.
Yeah, because it was made like back in the 90s. Like,
yeah, they'll make it better this time.
The full dark part looks scary.
It's
it's
a better ride. It is a better ride than Dinosaur.
The problem is these screens are trash though.
The
screens are trash. Like just these random like screens of like things going on, like not actually real things, but just screens, projections. That's whack.
Send me the video. This must be something that they added in lately because I don't remember there being a ton of screens in the ride.
I know they do like projection mapping and stuff on there, but I wasn't thinking of that as screens. It was like more of the projection onto physical objects kind of thing.
No, I haven't ridden the ride in a while, so just
yeah. I don't know. I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, I think the music makes it scarier, to be honest with you, than anything. Yeah. But I still gonna miss Dinosaur. I think Dinosaur was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was.
Maybe you'll like this better, though. You know.
I mean, I don't know. Again, this is just to me, it's a little bit of a rehash. I mean, it does look a little different. Are they changing the track at all? Like, what do they like? It's going to depend on what they do. I'm assuming they have to like refinagle it, or is it the exact same track layout too?
It is the exact same track.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be a better Indy, though. That Indy looks bad.
But here's the thing, though. It's the exact same track, but it doesn't mean it's going to, like, the speed is the same or, like, the bounciness is the same. Like, all that's going to be different. You know, like, it's...
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know.
yeah, the pacing of the ride is different. Like, the way they did Dinosaur, it paces differently. Are you talking about it at the very beginning, the projection mapping stuff that they did?
No.
Or...
I saw, like, a screen somewhere. And I was just surprised that there was a screen. But anyway, I mean, it looks okay. But I mean, I would have liked something new, maybe. I just hope I hope that it's like the animatronics are the same animatronics that we're getting in
Tiana
Splash Mountain.
Yeah. I
actually, this ride could really get like really glammed up with those animatronics. Like it has a lot more potential because again, the thing is that this ride is from the 90s. Like it's had its updates, but it's definitely
bad.
It's an old ride, right?
Yeah.
I
mean, like you said, they have an opportunity to put the latest technology in there, right? If they're going to do that, which I feel like they probably will. They're doing that for Tiana. Why wouldn't they do it for this too? But who knows? They might like to save some money or something. But I doubt it will at least look better than the ones that are in there now, right? Listen, some of the dinosaurs in Dinosaur weren't great either.
It was scary though. I like that though.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're talking about, Damon. That's new.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that wasn't. Oh,
that's kind of whack, dude.
Oh, I know what they did.
Yeah, that's kind of whack. I'll be honest with you. But
I mean, listen.
Anyway,
I'm glad that they're going to be redoing this whole area because Dinoland is kind of like a graveyard now.
So what are they doing for Encanto though?
We don't know. We know the casita is going to be there, but we don't know what is going to be in it. I mean, I would guess a dark ride, but I don't know.
Another dark ride and dark ride right next to each other. That seems weird.
It's a fair point. I mean, if
I'm hoping it'll be a cool walkthrough interactive thing, and they'll use the hollow floors because
that's not happening. Man.
Come on, why would they talk about the hollow floors if they're not planning?
Well, it's funny because they have been talking about them a lot and showing them to a lot of people, right?
They have, yeah, it's true.
I still think that's like a lawsuit waiting to happen, though. I just feel like there's just no way. I think the only way it works is if like you're in a seated ride and you're able to like move stuff yourself.
Like
that I could see.
You sit down at the table at the family table in Encanto, and then the chairs all like move.
Yeah, either like they move around you, or you're in a car, some sort of vehicle, and you're able to from the vehicle move stuff.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that would be cool.
I think I could see that more than people moving, but I do think that would be awesome.
I mean, to your point, Damon, I was reading an article while I was doing the rundown of somebody suing Disney because the ferry boat hit the dock a little bit hard and they fell over, and they're suing them. So you can imagine that they can't do the whole floor. Like that would be
I'm just
so
thinking
bad.
of all the YouTube videos I've seen of hoverboard fails.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Which are like, it's not Disney, but it's a balance board.
Yeah. You still have to have some sort of balance on there. So
I just was surprised. I didn't realize the hollow tile floor allowed you to like run full speed, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was neat.
I'm sure you saw that in the CNET thing where they talked about how fast could you run on it.
Yeah, and they're like, they said Usain Bolt.
I can handle Usain Bolt, which is crazy to think about. But
yeah, that I think was the best part of the technology. Like it could allow that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that really shows how powerful it actually is, because we're all thinking about like, it can like gently shuffle you around the room. No, this thing could like whip you across the room if it wanted to. Yeah. Then also you could run full speed and it doesn't care.
And that's why you'd have to sign a lot of waivers to stand on it.
That's also a terrifying prospect too, is like a dark ride where if something's like if there's like something coming out, and you're trying to run away. Yeah,
it's like a bad dream, and you can't get away.
That's that nightmare where you can't run.
That would be so cool, though.
That's going to be the new DVC sales strategy. Every time you try to leave the sales office, the holotile pulls you back in again, and you can just never leave.
What if there was a park though that was legitimately like that though? Where like, forget about even like Epic Universe, but like more than that, like even scarier. Like that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Forcibly moving people through.
Yes.
Oh man. I listen, I love the concept art for this, and I'm very excited to see what it's going to look like. And, it looks like they're going to change Restaurantosaurus into a maybe a sit down of some sort. I don't know. We don't really know. We can just assume things from this, but it will be interesting to see what the Encanto ride is going to be. It almost looks like there's like some sort of like gazebo, or I mean, it kind of looks like a merry-go-round, but I don't know. Maybe just a gazebo. But again, we really don't know anything at this point other than this piece of concept art. But we do know that they're starting to work on it. So we do know that they're filing not patents. They're filing permits, and they're starting to move forward with doing this. So, we're going to obviously get more details about this soon, but this is another one. The fact that they have the models like this means that this one is pretty locked in. Right.
Yeah.
They're far down the line of development for this one.
Yeah. The Casa Madrigal is very like, it took me a minute when I was looking at the model. I'm like, okay, what is that supposed to be? But then I realized, because there's no color in there, that it was,
it's a little harder to see. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very, very hard to visualize it. But now that I've looked at it for a few minutes, it's like you said, I can see where it's very locked in. One thing I will also note too about the temple for Indiana Jones, that's not the Temple of the Forbidden Eye as I remember it in Disneyland.
So what you're saying is maybe they'll do a different ride?
Or I'm thinking it might be that it's
a different story.
And it's not Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
That'd be cool if they did a whole different story. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's interesting because that actually opens it up that, we're looking at the Disneyland ride and going, oh, well, they'll just copy that there. They may take elements from it, but that means that they actually get a free canvas to do actually whatever they want with it.
It's true. Yeah.
Which goes back to, the animatronics and everything else that, well, it's, maybe I'll, when this happens, I'll be saying, this is better than the Disneyland Indiana Jones, which for the longest time I was saying, Dinosaur needs to step its game up. So,
well, it won't need to. It's not going to exist anymore. So,
it is. I mean, sorry, like the ride itself is, getting better. But yeah,
I feel like I need to ride Dinosaur on this next trip I have coming up, just to, because like in the past we've done our farewell rides on things, right? Like we went on like Universal Energy one last time when we knew it was going to close. We went on, what do you call it? where Mickey and Minnie's was. Why am I forgetting the name of that?
Great movie ride.
Thank you. Great movie ride. We rode that a couple times on the last trip before we knew that they were going to, to close it. So like, I feel, even though I'm going to my daughter, I feel like I need to go on Dinosaur one more time, just to say goodbye.
Yeah, that's fair. And, I guess it does say something about the state of it is that, even when we were there, we had the opportunity, like we were in Animal Kingdom, and I went to my son and I said, do you want to ride Dinosaur? And he was like, And I said, yeah, okay, then, we can skip because we had other things we wanted to do. Right. And that, I, even knowing that was closing down at some point, it was still like, it kind of shows the state of the ride is that, my son, the last time we rode it, it was not working great.
It wasn't in great shape. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were kind of like, I don't need to spend time getting on this ride. Right.
Yeah. And, just to put it out there too, we don't have a closing date on this yet. Right. So we don't know when this is closing. We just, Imagineering has been just sharing this model, that they're working on. So, we should hopefully know more, sometime soon. Again, like I said in the beginning of the show, I think we're at the very beginning of a lot of things, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of sharing of models and concept art and stuff, which is like there is always a lot.
Yeah. In fact, we have a lot more to talk about. So let's keep going here.
All right.
So this was a rumor a couple episodes ago, and it turns out this rumor was true. Although the date was a little off, but so we now have a closing date for Test Track, and we do have the first image of the new ride, although it's not really of the ride, it's just the exterior, right? But so what is it? June 17th it's closing, I think I saw. Yep. So June 17th, I think originally we saw end of May, I want to say, or maybe we said June. Maybe it was June, I don't know.
No, the rumor was end of May originally.
It was, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and we don't know what the inside of this ride is going to look like. We have one piece of concept art that kind of looks like a Test Track version of Dinosaur, to be honest with you.
Yeah, with all the plants. Yeah.
With all the plants that treat you like through a forest or whatever. And, they've talked about this before, that this is going to be, someone inspired by the original World of Motion that was in the building. I do have to say this one piece of concept art from the outside of the building definitely looks cooler than what is there now, I think. I don't know how you feel, but I think it looks very cool.
I forgot how nice the outside of the building looked.
Well, yeah, because they were blocking all those cool windows up top with all the scaffolding nonsense.
Well, there's that canopy and all the scaffolding and everything. It feels like it's been perpetually under construction, even though there was no actual construction going on.
It's like the Star Tours queue where it's it's half built because and given at that time it was because it was the studio tour thing, so it was just facades, right? But it almost feels that way, like it's constantly under construction. But
I didn't realize how bad it was. I'm just thinking about it. Like in my head, I was like, every time we walked in front of Test Track, I was like, oh yeah, there's Test Track, but I kind of looking at the current, I'm looking at the pictures of the current one because I'm like, that tracks. And then looking at this concept art, it's like,
it's night and day.
Wow. That whole building, it's such a nice building. It's got that. And further to that is, they're getting rid of all the scaffolding. It looks like it's going to have a new, was that not a canopy or there's going to be another, a new canopy, but it's going to actually fit the shape of the building, which also fits with the fact that the track is coming around the building, that you're going to see the cars or, seeing and hearing the cars zipping by. It's like
they're actually going to build a permanent canopy into that instead of just this sort of canvasy kind of thing that's on scaffolding,
Yeah. Now, the other thing too I noticed in the concept art is that it looks like there's windows on the front of that building, which I didn't realize.
Yeah, they've always been there. Yeah, you just have never got to see them because they were covered with the thing. Yeah, if you look at the picture of it now, you can see the windows there. They're just covered up because of how high up they have the canopy. Yeah, they've always been there. Yeah.
And that's also because like that's inside of the ride, right? Like you don't, or I assume that maybe they blocked them because of the current state of the ride. They didn't want to have outside lighting coming in, but it looks like in the new one, they actually do want to have that. Like they want to have, so maybe that, because we were questioning about like, where's that sunlight coming from in the internal screenshot or not screenshot, concept art that we saw.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because they're actually opening it up so that there's actually some light coming into the ride, which is kind of interesting. Like
that would be kind of cool if they did that. Yeah. Utilizing
natural light in the ride instead of everything being neon, like budget Tron.
Yeah. Well, I also think though, with the original World of Motion ride, I think you could see out those windows. I could be wrong, but I think that there was maybe a part of the ride that went by the windows. I
never got to experience World
I didn't
Motion,
either.
So,
yeah, I didn't either. I only watched videos. I mean, I might have gone on it when I was a very little kid, but I don't remember it for sure. But I think like there was some part of it where you could look out those windows, but like the building itself is extraordinarily cool, right? It's a very cool building that's covered up by a lot of, design that feels very 90s. Even though the last, update was 2012 they did the
I don't even think I feel it's early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s, late 90s, yeah.
Yeah, it's not even that fun 90s design. It's like yeah. I don't even know how to describe it. Like there, I feel like there was like good stuff back in the 90s, and then there was stuff that
then there was this
didn't make sense. Yeah, this is the latter.
then there was this. Yeah, it's so funny to look at the original like pictures of the original World of Motion ride because it doesn't have the track on the outside. It doesn't have that piece of track that they built. They like just kind of tack that onto the building. So when they changed it over to test track. So it's just kind of funny to look at the original version of it and how that building has kind of evolved over the years. But, like you're saying, I think this is, if this, and of course it's concept art, right? So it can change. But if this, stays true, I think this looks very cool and it feels like what EPCOT is right now. It feels like the design is very much what EPCOT is now. And actually, if you look in the windows too, you can see there's lighting in there. You can actually see into the windows.
Yeah, that's what drew my eye to it. Is you could see the lights inside on the concept art. Which you're right. It's kind of bringing everything to like EPCOT being futuristic again and not stuck in the 90s.
Exactly. Yeah. Finally bringing EPCOT back up to code. Listen, this is exciting news. I think we're going to hear more about this pretty soon because listen, this ride doesn't have much time left. The interesting thing is, a lot of times I think people like don't know what they have until it's gone, and then we'll miss things. Like Happily Ever After was like that because remember when Happily Ever After came around, everyone was like, oh, but wishes, and then Happily Ever After went away, and they were like, but Happily Ever After, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Happily Ever After got adopted fairly quickly.
It did, but I don't feel like that's going to happen with Test Track because I don't feel like people really loved this version.
Yeah, this iteration of Test Track is going to be forgotten.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and people can say, but it's not anywhere near as good as the old version. And anybody that like, I remember the first time I rode the older version and the like, just how like it sticks in my mind that, you went to the pre-show and they were talking about the different like tests. And then, the lady or the guy's talking and he says to the lady, oh, pick some tests. And you see her push a button and you see the crash test and you're kind of like, haha, that's funny. Like, it's a joke. But then when you come around the corner and you realize you're in an actual crash test room and you're like, hold up a second. like,
wait a second. This can't be real.
Yeah. And then the car starts accelerating. Like the new version of the ride does not capture that at all. Like it's it feels very, like there's no emotion behind it, which is funny because the emotion that they get out of you with that was panic. But
pure fear.
But but the current version is just like, it doesn't feel, it doesn't have any feeling to it, right? Which I'm looking very much forward to, hopefully this new version has some feeling to it again.
And a better story,
right?
Like, because the current one doesn't, it has the story of, you build your car and then you test it out. Okay, fine. But it really doesn't.
There's no, like I said, it's missing that, and they talked about it in the, I'm going to go back to the, the talking about the Tiana animatronics. They talked about that in that video about, they're not there to, talk about the electronics and all that stuff. Yeah, they're looking for the emotion, right? Which
absolutely.
I'm very hopeful that means, okay, as much as Test Track is not like, it's not an emotional experience in the same way that, like Happily Ever After is, but it definitely had emotion in it before. And I think they need to get back to that. And it doesn't mean, it doesn't need to scare me again the way that that the original did.
The original was almost kind of silly. Like it was it was so fun and weird and, like.
Yeah, but it also felt like kind of like they were showing off like, here are the different things to test on a car. Like, they were testing like handling and stuff. And you're like, cool. It's a test track. Like that's, it fit in my head, we're here to test cars. Cool. This is all like test scenarios and stuff, right? Like it had a story and it fit its own story. And then all the way up to the end where you're like, hold up, I didn't sign up to be a crash test dummy, but
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to whatever they do with this. Like it's,
I agree.
This is just another one of those, it's another one of those things that, like you said, they keep announcing this stuff and, the next time that I go to Disney, I'm hoping that there's going to be all this new stuff for me to check out.
Well, I mean, because this one, I mean, probably a year and a half. They're not building something new; they're just refurbing, right? So you're talking, this could feasibly be done within a year or so. I mean, so yeah,
there's a good chance it'll be there for my next trip.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to suggest, Trevor, that we save this Soarin thing for next episode, the patent.
Yeah,
because we have a lot left to talk about, and we're almost out of time.
Yeah, so, this is a rumor, so let's.
Oh no! I meant the patent. The patent. That you thought was an April. Thought was an April Fool's joke.
Right. Okay.
But we'll save that for another episode. Really quickly, we can just mention this rumor, which is they're going to update the aerial footage of EPCOT used for Soarin'. So like the end of Soarin' when you fly through EPCOT, and it shows like the whole middle of EPCOT. Like now that all the stuff is done in the middle, they're going to refilm and add that onto the end of the movie, which I think is great. I think it's cool that they're going to update that and keep it current.
Oh, and with the new, you haven't seen the new area like around spaceship.
It's going to be awesome. Right?
It'll be, and they do specify that this will be filmed after hours, so no, you won't be able to like get in the video for Soarin'. But I mean, they would edit people out anyway because that never turns out well.
Well, maybe while they're in there, they can fix the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, maybe, but but it'll look fantastic.
Yes,
like when you see, like when you're there and you see that area, you'll be like, yeah, that needs to be in Soarin'.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. So let's talk about this. There's a couple interesting Disneyland items here.
Yeah.
So according to the LA Times, and this is, Disney's basically confirmed this, Disneyland plans to replace Autopia's gas cars with electric cars. And so basically, let's see what the spokesperson says. As the industry moves towards alternative fuel sources, we've developed a roadmap to electrify this attraction and are evaluating technology that will enable us to convert from gas engines in the next few years. The interesting thing is this writer actually called up Bob Gurr, who, was the original designer of this, thinking that he might have a problem with this. And he said, quote, "Get rid of those god awful gasoline fumes."
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah.
I mean, if you've watched anything with Bob Gurr, he is like, he was very much in the same mindset as Walt,
he's a futurist. He was a futurist. Yeah.
He was all in on, the newest, up and coming, innovating, all that kind of stuff. And even like now, like, even though he's retired, he's still very much interested in all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
It's funny that people are like, well, but wouldn't he be mad that, it's his baby or whatever? No, he wants it to be better. He wants it to be futuristic. Right now, it's stuck in like the 80s.
Well, and he even says so
even
too.
in the 90s, it's in the 80s.
He makes such a good point though too. He said his vision is for Tomorrowland that would be a hub for stories about renewable energy, public transit, and other sustainable technologies that will help create a better tomorrow. And he said, Tomorrowland could use brighter colors, more kinetic energy, where guests could hear these whirring sounds like tiny jets and turbines all over the place, and don't smell the fumes and hear the racket of a little motor going put put put. So like, and if you think about it, that's totally true. Like the whole idea of Tomorrowland is supposed to be the next technology, right? So, I love that he thinks that way. And I've been saying this forever. Like they need to do this with Tomorrowland Speedway too, because like you got the fumes over there too, and it's loud. It's just loud, like.
Yeah, I mean, Speedway and Autopia, they're the same ride.
They're the same ride. Yeah, they're the same ride.
So yeah, I can totally see that. And again, maybe this is part of the plan that we don't know about yet, is that, they're announcing Disneyland. This is probably going to be something kind of in the same vein as Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Where you'll probably see the Disneyland one close. And if the Disneyland one is closing, the Tomorrowland or the Magic Kingdom one won't be far behind.
Well, and this shouldn't be that difficult for them to do, right? Because I mean, if they're just going to get electric cars and then somehow electrify the track, or just have a way for them to quickly charge, which Disney does quickly charge all those trackless vehicles. If you pay attention, like when you're on Ratatouille, or you pay attention when you're on Mickey and Minnie's, like the parts where you sit in front of a screen for a few minutes, they're actually charging the vehicle while you do that. You can see the spot where it charges. So like they've got experience with charging things extraordinarily quickly. Right. Yeah. So they could either do that, or, I was even just thinking of it as, hey, these things already run on metal, rails. Why don't you just electrify the rail and have a way to pick it up? I don't know.
Yeah, but they also need to make sure it's safe enough, because right now they have cast members walking across the tracks.
That's true.
And you don't need somebody getting electrocuted. Like right now, the rails.
Ways around it. Yeah, there's ways around it.
There have been cast members hurt by stuff that Disney didn't think about in the past. So.
That's fair. Listen, I think this would be a great upgrade. I would much rather not hear the sounds of go-karts when I'm at Disney,
Well, and also the fumes and everything. Yeah. Like we love Tomorrowland Speedway and Autopia. My son, when he was younger, obviously he loved it a lot more because it was, he got, when he was old enough that he could drive it, when he was the driver and I'm the passenger, he just thought it was the most
hilarious,
awesome thing. Right. Yeah. The kid getting to drive the car. But, again, even on this last trip, we were going to go on it, but then we kind of looked at it. Was like the middle of the afternoon. And we were like, it's too hot. Like, when it's hot and muggy and everything, the fumes from that place are even worse. Like you don't want to be anywhere near it. So,
yeah, exactly.
So I can see where, like he's saying, it should be updated in such a way that, it's showing off something new or showing off a potential for, a more futuristic way of doing transportation. But it's the one thing I don't want them to do is take away the fact that, it's an avenue for kids to learn to drive. Right.
Oh, I don't think they'll take that away. Yeah, no, I think that's still going to be part of it. Right. Like it's just going to be different fuel type. Right. Like that's what they're going to do.
I just, like I said, I just hope, because here's the thing is that the implications of, they're going to make these electric cars means, you actually have a larger degree of control over them, which means you could get it to a point where the car doesn't it becomes just a ride, like you're just riding along with it. You're not actually controlling it in any way. Right?
I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Right. Like that to me, we don't need another, like Omnimover type ride like that. Right. Like that's what it would almost feel like, is that you're just, you're a passenger. You're not controlling the vehicle, right? So
Exactly.
I hope, I'm assuming that they're not going to do anything like that with this, but like you said, there is some interesting logistics to it. Like, so you've got an electric vehicle. Okay. So you need to be able to charge it or do they have, will they have to think of a way to, rotate them off so that they can charge them? Because the one difference between that ride and like Ratatouille or something is, Ratatouille has specific areas where the vehicles will stop. That doesn't happen on this ride.
It doesn't.
True. Like the only place they stop is when they're getting
station.
people on and off the car, or when they're moving the cars off to, fix them or whatever. I mean, right? Like,
theoretically, they could charge while they're sitting in the station. I mean, while people are getting on and off,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess there is what is it called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of the name of
it. Yeah, like the phone charger technology, where like you can put it on. It's not
wireless charging. Is that what you're? Yeah.
There's another term for it, and I'm totally forgetting what it is. But
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Maybe it's something like that where, they have like, when it goes over certain plates, it'll charge or whatever,
charge.
Right?
Yeah. It'll get real quick charge while you're switching out, because it does take a few minutes to switch out, and you do tend to sit there for a few minutes. So I'm sure they can make that happen.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm predicting that, whenever this does happen, that it'll be probably within inside of 6 months, you'll see the same thing happen in Disney World.
I agree.
Like they're focusing very much on the Disneyland side of it, but I expect Disney World will have this happen not too long after.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this last item.
All right.
So Bob Iger's been teasing for a while that Avatar was going to be coming to Disneyland, right? But we really didn't know any of the details. Like, and I think originally we were speculating that it wasn't going to be like a full-on land. Well, we're definitely wrong about that, because this is a full-on
land.
Yeah, it's a full-on land. I mean, and Iger even said in the shareholder call, like, listen, now that once we get the final stamp of approval on Disneyland Forward, this is which they're going to get this month. These are the things that are going to move forward. We have one piece of concept art, and I love the fact that they're doing Avatar, but they're doing something totally different than Disney World. Like it's still got some of the floating mountains, but it's a whole different look to it.
It's another alien landscape, and it looks way nicer than the one in Animal Kingdom.
Really, you think so?
I like the circular rocks with the waterfall coming out of it. Like that's a very cool design. And then it looks like it's going to be, I'm assuming that might be another Navi River cruise ride.
It's funny because I didn't notice this when I first looked at the picture, that there was a boat sitting there, but there's very clearly a boat ride that's going to go outside in this land. If it's Navi River Cruise, but it's outside, maybe you actually get a longer, like, how they, everyone said, Navi's nice, but it's not long enough. Maybe you'll actually get a longer version of it. I'm looking at this, Trevor. I feel like this is going to be more in the vein of a Pirates kind of ride. Like, these are much bigger boats, right? Like,
are they're showing.
Yeah. Like the Navi River ones, you can sit like 4 people in them. This is like a whole Pirates boat. Like, look at
that. I thought they were bigger than that. But
I mean, maybe fit 6. I forget. I haven't been on it in a long time, actually. I might try to do it this trip because I think my daughter might enjoy it. But it's definitely not that big of boats.
Now, the other thing I'm noticing too is that this seems like there's a lot of open space here.
Oh yeah, tons of open space,
you're seeing like people like they're, I don't. It's like they're creating the illusion of there's people like standing on the bank of the river kind of thing. Like you don't see. I mean, like
a landscape of it before you even get into the land.
Yeah, I guess but I guess this is also it's conceptual, so they won't show all the railings and stuff. But
to your point, it's funny that you say it looks nicer, because I feel like Pandora is like one of the coolest lands in all of Disney.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying Pandora sucks. Like, I like Pandora as well, but this feels like a much improved
even better
iteration of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens though, right? Like the first one, and then you iterate on it, you make it better based on what you learn. And and I'm also seeing over to the left there, Trevor, too. That looks like a different ride, right? Like there's some sort of geyser going on there, like that. But that looks like an entrance to a ride of some.
It's like it's the tree structure,
yeah.
Right? Like it's not so yeah. Maybe that's something. And actually, that looks like Banshees up on top of, like, very teeny tiny up on top. So yeah, I don't want to say, they're going to just bring Flight of Passage and everything over, but maybe that's the intent is, there's going to be the same type of rides, but hopefully updated versions of those rides.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at this boat ride again, just to go back to it. Like, there looks like there's a lot of people in this boat, although they also don't look like they're sitting down. They look like they're standing up, oddly. But I do wonder if they're going to do something like they did with Pirates in Shanghai, with that kind of trackless boat technology that they have, where the boats can turn and go backwards and sideways and all sorts of different ways. It's not like Small Worlds where there's you're banging up against the rail and or Pirates, I guess, for that matter. Like, they now can do, basically, it's not trackless, but it's almost like a trackless system where you don't know where you're going next, and they can spin you around, they can do all sorts of stuff. Like, I would assume that they would use that technology here. It's
a boat, but the boat is not on rails, so it actually has like a guidance system or something that
and you can't see where you're going ahead of time, like every other boat ride, right? Like every other boat ride, like exactly where you're going, right? Like,
it's like you say, like current Pirates is you can see the rail and you can see how it's kind of pushing you along the rail. But yeah, you're right, that I didn't even notice that either, that maybe the potential there is that it'll be like you said, Shanghai Pirates, where the ride feels like you're literally just getting on a raft and floating down a river, which is, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, I'm even thinking drops in here. I'm thinking, I think they're going to go a little more intense with this. That's just my prediction. I mean, I'm sure they're still, figuring out everything. I am glad to see that there's still some floating mountains here. They're not doing floating mountains where you can walk underneath them, which is always a trippy experience when you're in Pandora and you can walk underneath that floating, rock. It always feels a little unsettling to me anyway, but I know it's safe and everything, but they still have some of the floating ones. It's a little different though. But yeah, it's funny, when I first saw this picture, Trevor, I did not see the boat ride at all in there, but it's definitely there. And there's definitely some sort of ride over to the left there. Obviously we don't know what, but.
And you notice like there is bridge structures and stuff too. So it's not even like, I feel like, kind of to your point about the feeling of, being under the rocks and everything, is that, this looks like, you can see the boats and they're floating and everything. But the fact that there's bridges going over and it looks like you can actually like get up pretty close. Like it feels like you would get pretty close to where that waterfall is.
That would be amazing if you could take pictures on that bridge or the waterfall. Like that's like, if it looks anything like the concept art, that would be the picture spot. I mean, it looks like a natural waterfall in like you'd see in like a park or something.
Yeah. This is the thing, is that it's turning from like being in a theme park into being in a natural space on another wordi.
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
They can really capture that. Like Pandora does that pretty well, but yeah, sorry, I like this a lot more, and it's reminding me of Avatar was a great movie and everything, but there's a lot of like sci-fi space stuff that has this kind of aesthetic, and I know Avatar has pulled from various inspirations and stuff, but it almost feels like something out of a video game to me.
It does,
like I've played video games like this where it's like, there's like crazy big structures like that you can like walk up to. So
yeah, I mean, building this in real life will be incredible to see, right? Like this, and I'm hoping they stick to this, because this will be amazing.
And if it's anything like Cars Land, I mean, they do some really impressive stuff in California. Like again, you haven't been there, but they're really good at hiding the
the outside world.
Yeah. Like when you walk in, it's like, oh, this is where we are. And they do the same thing in Florida, but
it's easier in Florida though, because they don't have a residential neighborhood on the edge of the park,
Yeah, and I think the big difference too is that, like in Florida, like in Animal Kingdom, like the transition from Animal Kingdom to Pandora, Animal Kingdom is a very naturalistic place as it is, right? Like it's already very,
it's not like a stark change when you go into Pandora. It feels very like it fits. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Like with when I'm thinking about like Cars Land, is that they did a really good job. Like you'll be on like Buena Vista Street in California Adventure, and it's like, oh, you're in like this like 1940s space, and then you walk around a corner and you're in Cars. Like it's not a like, oh, there's kind of still stuff in the background. It's like you walk onto that street and you're in Radiator Springs, and it's amazing because there is, like you said, there isn't a ton of space to do stuff like this, but they do a really good job of presenting this stuff. So I'm excited to see how this is actually going to flesh out.
Yeah, I just hope this isn't one of those cool pieces of concept art that we see and then they're just like, no, just kidding, we're not going to do it. Like,
or that circle is just like a bagel or something.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Avatar is such a big property, and and since they like own it now, like I think they're probably going to go through with it, even though, because the last movie did extraordinarily well again. I know a lot of people like to go like, oh, it doesn't have a cultural impact or whatever, but like these movies still make billions of dollars. Like it's not, there are obviously people seeing them. So,
yeah, just because you're naysaying it doesn't mean that it didn't, make money. Right?
Extremely popular, yeah. So
there's plenty of popular things that people love slamming on.
Yeah,
somehow are still popular. So it's like it's like nobody wants to admit. Like actually, sorry, I'm gonna sideline. I know we're like,
we got to wrap up, Trevor. Come on.
I'm just gonna iterate a story that I was having a conversation with somebody where they were talking about like, oh, I play Mario games, but can you believe that I play Super Mario? And I'm like, everybody like. Nobody has a problem with playing Super Mario. Yeah, but they had this like idea in their head that like I guess other people that they knew were like slamming on like you don't play real games, you only play Mario. And I'm like, but Mario is a game. Like it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And Avatar's kind of the same thing. It's like, well, you watch Pandora. Well, yeah, it's a movie. It's it's a sci-fi thing. It's fine. Like there's like it's not like at the top of my list, but I don't feel the need to like hate on it, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap this thing. Listen, this was like a lot of stuff in a week, man. Like, and like I said, I think this is just the very beginning. Like, I think they've turned the faucet on a little bit. It's dripping, and the faucet is going to open up, and we're just going to start getting a lot more of this stuff. Over the next couple months, and I think we've all been kind of waiting for that, and here it's coming, right? We're starting to get some details of things, and exciting stuff.
That animatronic video really like got me excited. I will say, like I know we talked about a lot of different things here, but specifically the animatronics and just seeing what they're doing with Tiana's is. That's getting me excited for all of this other stuff because we don't even know what a lot of this other stuff even looks like yet. But like you said, I feel like there's going to be a bit of a flood coming of Disney projects that 100%. I don't think people realize is on the horizon.
Yeah, get ready. But for good things. These are good things. We're excited about.
This is good stuff. It's going to be good. Like well, hurry up and wait again. But again, the nice thing is that Disney's pretty good about, these things come in regularly enough that, we're not even having to wait 5 years for anything. Like there will be things. It's just not necessarily the thing you want. Right.
Yeah. Cause you'll get Tiana's this year. Maybe you'll get new test track next year, and who knows how long the new lands are going to take. I don't know, probably sometime, but
maybe I think of the lands. I mean, the Animal Kingdom, I feel will be the next thing after that. But and maybe they'll do that in phases too. Like maybe the indie ride will come first, and then the Encanto stuff will come later. Like
And let's just hope for a Figment overhaul. That's all I'm saying.
Oh,
It's
wow.
never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Figment
and
Figment
Spaceship
with
Earth.
the upgraded animatronics.
All right, let's not speculate on that now. Let's wrap this thing up.
I'm going to leave that thought.
Another show. It's another show.
I'm excited about that idea. But
yeah, this is the longest episode we've done in a while. So
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about.
There was, and we even skipped some stuff. There was so much to talk about.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
anyway.
So to wrap this up, if you guys ever want to reach out to us about anything we talked about, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your questions. People share trip reports, just, any kind of stuff. We love hearing from you guys. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. And we also have our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where some of our listener questions come from there, but there's also lots of great discussion, people talking about their upcoming trips, talking about DVC related stuff, and sharing their own adventures, and as well as there's memes that get posted about the show, which is always funny. There's
a lot of good memeable stuff from the episode, I feel like.
I'm really. The hard part is that we're recording this on a Friday and it's going to come out on the Monday, and I'm going to have to remember what we said.
Remember all the
next
things we
week,
said.
Because I'm going to see these memes as we get into the week, and I'll be like, "What was this? What did I say?" So, yeah. But I'm looking forward to it, though. We have some good meme lords in our group. So if you want to check that out, make sure you join the group. It's another great place to talk about Disney stuff. If you'd like to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merch, which we've got all kinds of different stuff there. If you're needing some t-shirts for an upcoming trip for yourself, or a mug for the office, or other things like fanny packs and all kinds of good stuff, you can check it out on the store. And we also have a Patreon. So you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out the different levels of support there. Our Patreon supporters also get access to the Discord server, which, as we've talked about earlier, some of our questions come from there as well. And there's also more discussion that goes on Discord about things that are happening in Disney and all that kind of stuff. So if you like that, check out our Patreon, and also check out the Discord server. Last but not least, if you are listening on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. It does help the show. It's, that's just how the internet works now. We get more listeners if people leave reviews. We do love seeing the 5 stars, but we also love seeing the written reviews, because if you're on iTunes, you can write a review about the show, and people say all kinds of interesting things about the show, good and bad. We don't we don't think bad reviews are necessarily a bad things. It's people are very much allowed to leave reviews and say what they think about the show, and we like to hear it. So please leave us a review, and hopefully it'll help somebody else find the show too, that might leave us another review, and then everybody can leave us a review.
Just everybody leave us as many reviews as possible. Make up fake accounts.
No. Don't do that.
What happened?
Fake account. Come on, we're not doing that.
Burner accounts. Just if you want to.
Sorry.
How come there's only Damon burners, by the way? Like I want there to be over the top Trevor ones, over the top love for Tom. I'm talking about
the
myself.
Canadian Trevor burner account.
What are you talking about at yahoo.com?
Oh no, please don't.
Oh, okay. We've been talking for too long. We're getting crazy. All right, so don't forget to subscribe to the Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app that's out there, you can find us. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please contact a DVC cast member or just a regular cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC Rental Store, for sponsoring this episode, and of course, World of DVC for just being a continued presence on this show. And actually, they're going to be on the show next week, Trevor. I didn't even tell you this. We're going to have a guest from World of DVC on next week. So,
oh, wonderful.
We're going to have Carrie on. We haven't had Carrie on in a long time.
Oh,
Carrie
okay,
is a delight.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, we'll have Carrie on next week. That'll be a good time. So, join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.